Hi. This is the IL instruction video showing you what you do when you get your kit. This is not exactly the same as the kit we mail out. We've got a couple of extra rings in there, but basically you get each of these rings on the outside 4 if you're getting our new kit, right? Those rings are about 2 inches deep, and then the inner 4 rings, the rings are 1 inch deep. So you get 24 rings with the kit, and we'll show you how you assemble those together. Inside, the kit's like this, kind of comes shipped like this, where you can see it's all hiding in there, ready for you to glue.
Switch out all the tags. Yeah.
And here's what it looks like being glued. And we're going to start here with a small one. Put this one aside here. Here we have for each 2 pieces of wood. 2 pieces of wood like this, you get a 1/4 inch. So to make a 1 inch deep drum, of course you could make them deeper or less deep depending on what you're doing. 2 pieces of wood, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can kind of try and line up the holes if you want. You can put a pin or a toothpick through the holes to help yourself line these up. It's not necessary. Just gonna sort of line these up about the same like this. They're sort of ready to go. That's what I expect it to look like. I got my glue. Trick here is to glue a lot of glue on both sides. You need a lot of glue on both sides. So, very first one, the outside of the drum, well, that's not going to have any glue on it, right? So, we're going to put some glue. It's okay if you use too much glue. Too much glue's fine. Line up the holes a little bit. And there we go. Gonna do the next 2. Try not to put too much glue, but I had to put glue on both sides. It's way better in this stuff to have too much glue than to have too little glue.
For the lab?
Extra glue we can wash off with water and a damp cloth. Too little glue we can't fix. Can't fix too little glue. Oh, I'm half done. Pulling the little drum ring, pulling one of the mini drum rings from the center of the kit here.
I seem to remember seeing one that was like, it looked like a...
I've done this with quick drying wood glue. You do have to be quick then. It kind of starts to get tacky within 10 minutes. This stuff you have a little bit more time.
Oh, because... Yeah, it's...
I think one of the tricks here is to not press too hard when you're doing this part. We are going to clamp the rings afterwards. We just want to make sure they're close to lined up. We'll have a final chance to align them later.
Why not just build your own? Out of leftover CD trays and stuff, yeah.
It's always fun gluing stuff. Not too much work, especially for these small rings. I'm almost done the gluing part. I'm getting messy fingers. Kids are going to get messy fingers doing this for sure. So one of the tricks is you can keep stuff wet if you have fast drying glue. But I have some water over here to kind of help with that. I got some stuff here I can wipe some extra glue off and stuff, but what I really want to do is it's much more important just to get this clamped in roughly the right shape. You could spend a lot of time playing with it and letting it slide around before you get it clamped. To get it clamped, you really just want to get 2 clamps on it. So I'm going to try and pick it up here without it getting in trouble. Sometimes if you spend a long time, it's kind of stuck to the paper. So it's really good to do it with a piece of paper underneath there. In the end, you could leave the paper attached and like take it off later if it got too stuck. So you can see it's still a little wonky, still a little flexible. So I'm going to kind of get my clamp on here. You're going to get glue all over your clamp. Don't worry about it. We'll wipe that off. That's why we have the water. I'm not going to do my first clamp too tight. Kind of got it here where it's sort of supporting itself a little bit. So now I'm going to try and straighten these guys, try and make it feel smooth. You can see them. Oh, look at this, that's pretty smooth there. Actually, no, this is really when we want to be straightening it, when it's already in a clamp like this, side on, supported like this. This is our one chance, really. So we're going to do that. I'm going to tighten this just a little bit, but I'm not going to tighten it totally on that side. I'm going to get a second clamp on the other side. Once we got these two clamps tight, we'll be able to pick this up. We'll be able to wipe all this glue off. We're going to make some really strong plywood here. It's been glued both sides, and we'll need to let this glue dry the required amount of time for your glue. A lot of wood glue actually takes 24 hours to reach full strength. So I'm going to feel it, make sure it's smooth all the way around. Turns out this round ring is way easier to line up than an octagonal ring, and that's why we start with a round ring product here, because this is just much easier. This lines up so easily. I got one on here. You don't want to push these too tight. One of the ways you can damage the kit is by doing these too tight. The wood is thin, you can crush that stuff. So I've got two on there. I'm going to get two more. If you want to use just two clamps, I'm sure there are kind of things you can do if you use a piece of wood and another piece of wood to block off and just use two clamps, but that would make sure that the stress goes right across the ring. But what happens if you just glue it with two, not so much with a small ring like this, but with a big ring, when you do it with two, the parts that aren't glued, like this on this side, this will open up as it dries a bit, and you might get a buzzing and it won't glue properly. You really do have to put at least 3 rings, sort of 120 degrees apart, as it were, or 4, I shouldn't say rings, clamps, or 4 clamps on there. And then you do have to leave it clamped the required amount of time for that stuff to dry. It's just like wood class all over again. And here's where I have a great bit of my water. I'm just going to wipe this down with a wet rag. So everything should be clamped in place. You shouldn't be able to move anything. You got the clamps a little bit tight. Maybe get your glue off the clamps while you can here. Don't submerge the wood in the water. In the end, we're going to dry this ring off right away. We don't want it to get super wet for a long time, but it's okay to get it wet now while you wipe the glue off. Just going to wipe off all the glue as I can on this. Now let's get another piece of stuff. I'll just put it back here. Put that there so I don't stick to that stuff. And there's our ring. Depending on, most wood glue dries a little bit transparent, so it looks a lot nicer after this once the wood is dried. I'm just going to lift this a little bit so I can get underneath and get the spark and wipe off some of that. Remember, you can still sand this ring after you're done. You can, like, there's a little bit of the coloration, which I actually like. There's some coloration here from the laser that cut this on the laser cutter. But if you want to make a nice wood laminate kind of finish, you just sand the outside of this once it's dried. Make a really beautiful, much brighter finish. And I'd say we're done there. I would let that dry. Any extra bits of glue you can always sand off when you clean it up after. I do a tiny bit of wipe up here just around some of the, get into one more tiny bit of off the clamps here. Doing this at Maker Lab 2RG, and I don't want to leave their clamps all covered in glue. Done.